welcome, guys. Good to be back. The big man himself, Elegbete, over there. And we've got a lot to cover. It's international break. And let's start with the Super Eagles, because where else do we start from? And it's a dicey situation, still with a chance to qualify. But I'm going to ask, and I'm going to be straight to the point. If Nigeria fails to qualify for the FIFA World Cup next year in North America, who gets the lion's share of the blame? Any of the coaches that has coached this team, the administrators, or the players? Who gets the lion's share?
I think we've been doing the blame since forever. The question is, what do we benefit from sharing the lion's share of the blame? That probably is a rhetorical question that I will ask, not for you to answer me, but just for us to look at this. It's about time that we ask what has been going on with our football. Okay, so the last World Cup we didn't qualify. They say it's Ghana. We hinged it on the fact that in the battle of rivals, anything can happen, and we accepted that. This one, when we started these qualifiers, it was just clear that nothing about rivals caused that one. It's just the fact that we were on a downward spiral, and in a war, there are casualties. And the coaches that we've had, from Jose Peseiro to Iguaivon to Finidi George, and now Eric Sekuchel, are all casualties of the war. What we're complaining about is not qualifying for the World Cup, which is a symptom. The real virus is the fact that we have not invested in our football development for years. We have left our babies, our children, to be trained by another family, and now we're complaining that our children does not have our traditional ethos, identity. They don't speak our language and all that. And by this, I don't mean the born in the abroad player.
Yeah,
before people misinterpret what I'm saying. I'm just using that as a figure of speech, that we have not really done anything to show that we're serious. Before the last World Cup in Qatar, how many back-to-back World Cup did Morocco qualify for? Before the last two WAFCON, how many competition did the Moroccan women play in? And what was their position? How is it that after the Mohammed VI, or what's the facility they call it? All of a sudden, Morocco
back-to-back finals.
Yeah, Morocco's women are back-to-back finals. Remember, these are Arab women who normally don't play football.
Yep.
Right? Normally don't play football. So you would think that if they come into play, it will take them another 10, 15, 20 years. How is it that all of a sudden those women are now so solid? On the side of the Moroccans, let's be honest. Yes, I'm a Nigerian. We won our 10th one. Mission X was done in grand style. But if you are a Moroccan footballer watching that game, you will feel like you were robbed. That penalty that was not awarded, considering the one that they awarded to them, look at it from the side of the Moroccans. So you would have also said, maybe we would have won this thing 3-2. At the time, the score was 2-2. And they would hinge their success on what they did with facilities. Now, let's look at the Europeans. There are those who it worked for and those it didn't work for. The French national team set up Clairefontaine. And Clairefontaine led to them winning. They set it about 1991 or so. By 98, they won the first World Cup. 2 years later, they won the Euros. 20 years later, 2018.
Yeah, after the last
20 years
World
later,
Cup,
after the last World Cup, or 18 years after the Euros, they won another World Cup. In between, whether you like it or not, after that, period. There was a silent. No, before then, before the Clairefontaine, there was the Euros that they won in 84. In between 98 and 2018, there was also the 2006 finals. So since Clairefontaine, France have played in the finals of the World Cup 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
Won 2, lost 2. Played in the finals of the Euros. Won the nation. I think they won the Nations League as well.
Lost 1 Euros finals. They won to Portugal.
Won. They lost to Portugal. So you can see that investment in sports development attached to a league, whether we Nigerians here, we that have the MPFA calling the French League Farmers League, is very, very strange anyway. But hey, it is what it is. We like to say these things. You could see that Belgium also invested. Unfortunately, they got to the semi-finals. The golden generation got to the semi-finals, didn't win it. Well, we could also reverse it and say the Netherlands have been investing in sports since forever, have a great league that that have produced teams that have won the Champions League 4 times in Ajax and the rest of it. But they've been to the finals of the World Cup, I think 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
Or so. But if you look at it, wouldn't you rather invest and see your team go to the finals and not win it than not invest at all and be bouncing on luck. So that's our real problem. I think that if we're serious, so with the national team, this team doesn't qualify. My first shall blame, I've always said it anyway, that the players are the ones that are responsible. They are not serious, and it's their lack of seriousness that is dragging us through this pit. Because anyhow you look at it, excuse that we didn't qualify for Qatar was because we played against Ghana. No matter what state Ghana is in, if they playing against Nigeria, they are a different kettle of fish. Same with Cameroon and the rest. Sometimes we will win, sometimes they will win. But with these qualifiers, if you look at all the group and we are sincere to ourselves, ranking, quality of players, quality of football, history, pedigree, whatever you want to put, Nigeria is the second most expensive team in Africa, rated at between $300 to $350 million. That's the Super Eagles of Nigeria. And then we're playing in a group that have Benin Republic. The entire team is rated less than $50 million. Lesotho rated less than $35 million. Zimbabwe, but
South Africa with all their players based in their league
does not even hit the 150 million mark. And Rwanda, that's not on the map. And we're playing against these countries and we're struggling. We just won our first home match. Game. In 4 games at home, we just won 1. So when you look at that for a minute, like, okay, the last game against Zimbabwe that we drew at home, was that a tactical problem? I don't think so. Again, why is it that once Nigeria score, if you notice, we just start going back, we just start trying to defend. We don't think that we should put a second goal. We don't think there is something now in Nigerian football that says, if we attack, we cannot defend. I don't see how that works anyway, if that's the new system of play. And this is not just under Eric Stekushel. It was like that under Pesero, Iguavon, and the rest of them. And we have this thing where when we lose a game, we shout, oh, Nigeria is used to playing wing play. We've been playing wing play since I've been losing. So are you saying that this generation of player cannot even play through the middle? Every time we try to play through the middle, it doesn't, oh, no, we've been playing through, Nigeria is known for wings. How long would we be known for wings? Having said that, let me go back again. England, perennial underachievers. After 1966, they were nowhere in football map in terms of their national team. But they they had a meeting in 1986, and this first of all fixed their league. By 1992, the league started, and the league became like the best league in the world. Remember, the English league is regarded as one of the worst league in the world before kick and follow, police game. Nobody liked the league. The leagues like the Dutch league, the French league, the German league, senior of them all, the Italian league, and then the CIA were all rated higher. Right now, the team, that relegated team, makes more money in the league than even the top team. You can see all the tournaments that they've won in European competition. A Chelsea that had a very terrible season went on to win the World Club Championship. But you now add that to when they invested in the St. George's Park, that was an elephant project at one point. They were talking about it from the 80s to the 90s. And then some people will say, you know what, let's get this thing done. Since they did it, they played in the World Cup finals how many times? Semi-finals twice. They played the Euros finals twice. Their women national team have won the Euros, played in the finals twice, lost one and won one. You can see what that base.
They actually won 2 Euros back to back.
Women, right?
The women, they lost the World Cup final.
Okay, they lost the World Cup finals to
won the Euros back to back.
So they won the Euros back to back. You can see what that.
The under 17s have been.
They've won the under 17. They won the under 20s, the Euro competitions as well.
Yeah.
You can see what that's lit. Well, I don't want to use the word lead now, but that's £500 million investment, if I'm getting the numbers right, I've done for English football. Well, there was a time where we always would say England going into the tournament, they know their bus stop, and the bus stop is quarterfinals. They will either get knocked out by one team, or they get knocked out on penalties. But right now, England coming into the tournament, even with home-based coach Gary Southgate, who people tell like it's not really among the best. There's no club right now that would need a coach and your name, your first name on the list will be Gary Southgate. Takes their team to back-to-back finals of the Euros, semi-finals of the World Cup, and all that. It is that kind of infrastructural development, investment. It is that kind of football sporting facility investment. And don't forget that between this period, in 2012, they hosted the Olympics. So, and then plus the Euros that they hosted and all the things that came with it. So you must also look at ourselves and say, in this period, between 1990 and today, where Germany were able to change their football, where France changed their football, where, Morocco now have changed their football because they will say all these things that you're saying, no African team is involved, where all of these have changed their football. Where is the investment in Africa? Because again, you look at South Africa, They invested in hosting the World Cup in 2010, and that up their league. What's the benefit? Mamelodi Sundowns winning CAF Champions League. Mamelodi Sundowns going to play in the World Club Championship.
Becoming a regular in finals.
What has Nigeria done in that period to be thinking that World Cup is our bet try, that we should go to the World Cup irrespective of how we play? So why we blame the symptoms is the players, the coaches, the administrators. But have our government really invested in this era of investment determining success? Have we invested enough to earn the right to go participate in the Senior
So
World Cup?
if we know the root cause of the issues that are facing Nigeria, as I know many other Nigerians know, why has it taken us this long period, or why doesn't it look like we are going to solve that problem anytime soon?
Two reasons. One, Nigerians believe that prayer is the key. And the thing with prayer, the way Nigerians understand this prayer, this ideology of prayer and philosophy of prayer is that with prayers you don't have to work. Even though the Bible says prayer without work is dead, faith without work is dead. But Nigerians have converted it to, that's why we have miracle alerts. That's why we have spiritual sons that are donating 1 billion to pastors. That's why we have spiritual, that's the way we think that things can easily work, because you can not read, not attend class, exam period, you start fasting and praying, hoping to pass. And when you don't pass, you say it's because the lecturer don't like you, that one is against you. This World Cup qualifiers, we already have an alibi. If we don't qualify for this World Cup, we will not look introspectively and say, okay, these are the things we did wrong, these are the places where we took the wrong decision, these are the things we didn't put in place. We will say, oh, because the CAF president is from South Africa. If you can even see that the 3-point deduction, they hold on until maybe South Africa beat us on Tuesday, and then they finally deduct them when they know that Nigeria will not qualify again. We already have excuse. A country that got knocked out of the World Cup in 1994, and everybody went out on the street to say that the match will be replayed, that Baggio used juju, one thing happened. The referee, when we played against was it Paraguay, Jose Luis Chilavet is the goalkeeper of Paraguay, when they beat us at the World Cup too, people say was wearing a medallion, and that medallion was reflecting sun in the eyes of our player. That's why we couldn't score, that there was voodoo in it. So like grown-up adult Nigerians believe that match was going to be replayed. That's the country that me and you are from. People who think that way, people who believe that a team that comes second in AFCON should be honored. You understand? And people who tell you that Jesus Christ. People who say some ridiculous thing just to promote stupid agenda. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys, but sometimes I have to use this word. I know that there are a lot of my people in the communities that don't like it, but I'm sorry. Okay, my barrister friend, I apologize, but this is how emotional you can be sometimes. Now, having said that, if we really want to grow, and this is me putting my 2 cents. People will not like this, but sorry if you guys don't like it. Government should invest heavily in developing our league. It worked for England. It worked for Italy. It worked for Spain. Their league became one of
a one-off kind of investment or sustained investment.
You cannot do one-off investment in sports. Let me give you a very vintage example. In the last, between 2012 and today, I've had like 6 different state government or commissioners, ask me to come be part of their team, even at federal level. And one of the things they say upon appointment is come and work with me. I want to have something tangible to show for my first 100 days in office. First 100 days in office is 3 months. And what I've always stood, the same response I've given all of them, whether in Delta, in this Lagos, and outside of Lagos, some other places far away. I said, there is nothing in sports that you can do and get tangible result in 4 years. Not to talk of 100 days. In 4 years, football does not grow like that. Football is like an acorn seed growing up to become an oak tree. It's like the pregnancy of an elephant. It takes time. Set it up and be willing to see another person come and continue what you have started. If you are willing for that kind of project, I'm willing to work behind the scene. Nobody will even know if I'm part of your team, and we'll get results. So football does not have instant yield. Imagine if Kule Shoname was waiting for one season wonder when he started this project. You think they would have won the league last season? That pack now, like
relegated twice.
You understand me? Like Ifeanyi, I mean, some people do the things for politics, some people do it for the football business, but I'm just using him as an example. Now, in Nigeria, you cannot have one-off investment. And then this brings me the real issue that we're facing, and is our reality. I quite agree that some coaches might just come in, be lucky to have players who are determined, and then tactics with determination can just work. That's one phase of it. But you see, a sustainable success is the one you invest in and you plan for it. So what we have in Nigeria now, the whole landscape, the first thing you look at is what is the portion of the federal budget that
Dedicated
is shared,
to sports.
dedicated to sports. Even though we've separated the Ministry of Youth from the Ministry of Sports, that's what this president did, and we've created the National Sports Commission. Ask yourself how much goes to the National Sports Commission, and then when you find that money, begin to break it down into all the sports. There is football, there is basketball, there is swimming, there is athletics, there is all the other sports, there is National Sports Festival and the rest of them. So when you extract that, ask yourself what is remaining. So you look at some of the infrastructures that we have. First, I'll start with the federal infrastructure before you go to the states. All the federal infrastructure in sports, like the National Stadium, Surulere, the Tafawa Balewa Stadium, the Nnamdi Azikiwe Stadium in Enugu, all the stadiums that are federal government owned, that is under Bureau of Public Enterprise, BPE, they are the ones who owns those, who manage it on behalf of the federal government. I say, this is my position, hate me if you like, I say federal government appoint people that will be facility managers in the 6 geopolitical zones. When you're done with that, put out a bid, concession the stadium, because you cannot have a dead facility. This is not electricity, this is not telecom. Concession the stadium for another 50 or 100 years, but retain percentage, so that government can be making profit.
So there has to be deliverables from the people that are put in charge. Because right now it does not look like...
It's not deliverable now. People are just using the facility to car park or let's use National Stadium. I don't think anybody is returning any money to the federal government. The federal government of Nigeria. Everybody's just taking money out of the government. No KPIs at all. Whether it's the Nnamdi Azikiwe Stadium in Enugu or the one in Kano or Kaduna, wherever, all the stadiums, nobody is making any return to the federal government. So it is just laissez-faire, do things as you like. That should change. Okay, appoint people as facility manager. That's the hold of the government on it, so that person would take note of every event that is used, that the stadium is used for. Meanwhile, concession it to these people with that caveat that we would have our facility manager who works along the line with your own. Now what this does is that person also take note. Everything you do, your receipts, your invoices will be countersigned with the federal government person, so that when it comes to sharing percentage, you will not make 1 million and come and tell federal government that only 1,000 will make, or could share 1,000. You understand? That in its turn will not bring the place where, if the concessionee, the people who are running the concession say, okay, we want to use the stadium for the Nigerian League. Okay, we want to give the stadium to different teams. If they think they can build the fan base to accommodate it, fine. If all we do with it is to host Burna Boy concert, Davido concert, Whiskey concert, fine. But that's the first space where there's no, I mean, apart from Wembley Stadium in England, there's no other stadium that is owned by the government. Okay, the London Stadium that they use for the Olympic that West Ham is not using. But they've concessioned it to West Ham. So West Ham maintains and take care of it and pay lease to the British government. That's one step. 2, let's build a facility that the national teams can call their own. The idea that we are going to a hotel and we're not paying for the whole hotel, meaning that any Tom, Dick, and Harry can go lodge in the hotel that the national teams, whether the women or the guys lodging in, you can be on the same floor with them, and then, distraction can come in. I don't think anybody just walks into St. George's Park and go and see the English national team. Or
you don't pass gates, you don't pass the fence.
Because there is entrance and there's restriction. If you don't have any business there, you're not going to go there. Right? All you can do is get accreditation and come for the post-match press briefing. While you're done, alele, they go. Everything is done in orderly. That's the first thing that I look forward to us having. Then we cannot say, okay, this investment, we also need a system of play. Because every time we hire a coach and we say, wing play, it is not coach they determine how you play. The only time your nation can determine how the team play is when you have your league. Your league now generates a system that a coach comes and you say, okay, this will. And most times
we are mostly dominant in our league.
In such situation, your coaches come from that your league. Mm-hmm. Then you cannot agree. Not when you go and bring Eric Sekuchel from somewhere that's not followed Nigerian football, aggressively. Only know some of our stars because of their exploits in their European clubs, not even because of what they do in Nigerian football. And then you say he should jettison the style that has worked for him that you saw, that make him come here to coach, like we did with Felipe Troze back in the day. And then say, oh, Diamond style, like then Timothy Dembo and Mikolo Warwe. No, Nigerian league players can play Diamond style. All of the. I mean, let me leave there. These are my guys.
All right. We need to get done with this conversation. We've highlighted the issues. We highlighted possible solutions. But I want to have your thoughts and maybe quite briefly on this one. Would we ever get it right? At least in our generation.
Yes,
Does it look like we will get it right?
When we say our generation, there are two different generations.
Yeah.
But yeah, we will get it right. We will get it right because Nigerians are competitive in nature, but our competition is not always against the outsiders. We compete against ourselves. I think that at the end of the day, even though I didn't vote for this government, he might likely end up as one of the best. That's how bad the previous ones have been. Not because he's great,
That's good.
but that's how terrible the past ones have been. If you come from a family like 10 generation, nobody's ever bought a car, nobody's ever had a bike, a bicycle, wheelbarrow.
The day you buy keke.
The day you buy keke, you are Dangote. You're on Dangote's level, right? That's exactly where we are at right now. So I think that this government will end up with, if he gets a second term, I don't know. I'm not really big on politics. I just know that I vote for my conscience and let it play out. If he wins, good. If he doesn't win, I'm okay. But I've done my conscience. Now, but basically what I'm saying is there are going to be some level of infrastructural development in Nigeria, and with the Dangote refinery in Nigeria, right? We will earn more money as a country. Our economy, the naira will stabilize. Our economy will grow. There will be surplus. Instead of us always being in debt, there will be surplus. That surplus will not make the mistake of go on. Who goes out there and tell the world that we have money, it is how to spend it that we're looking for. And we're busy dashing people money. We're not borrowing it. We're just dashing people money. That will not happen. Dodgy money. And then these things that I'm saying are very, very strange to you. Dodgy money would also not happen. Yanfo spending would also not happen. This lean season that looked like the 7 years of Pharaoh's dream, but our own is like 200 years now of that, will end one day. And then when that time comes, you see, if you look American history, they didn't start with all this plenty foreign policy. They started with fix their country. The whole of Chicago got burnt one day. And some people say, okay, let's not be building with wood again. Let's build upward. New York, the same thing, all those kind of things. So people will wake up one morning and say, because you see these young children that are shouting on social media, for every 1,000 that is shouting and making noise, all of us that is shouting, there's going to be 10, 20, 30, 50 or 100 who would build capacity, who will learn how to do things, who would use that know-how to come. If you go to Dangote refinery, there are a lot of Nigerian students that graduated from Nigerian universities, Kenaland University, Covenant University, all the rest that are working there. Another person is going to build another big industry like that. Who knows? Boy, I might build another refinery. Who knows? You might partner with some people and build one tech hub somewhere. And then all of those people would eventually be challenged to want to do something right. If you come from Abia State, you wouldn't believe that somebody can do the things that Uti is doing. Not like it's a grand thing, not like it's a special thing. It's just rude, normal thing. But if you're from Abia State, that's regarded as the dirtiest state forever.
By many.
And factually. But now they are one of the cleanest states. You would have seen that, okay, this change is happening. So the same way we'll go around the country, and hopefully now that we're building our own drones and our own ammunition, we'll deal with the insurgencies, and then we'll spend money. So yes, to answer your question, that would happen. Would it happen just immediately? No. I think when we're done with fixing electricity, fixing our hospitals, fixing our roads, which we're doing, our rail lines, expanding our airports, we'll not have money. You understand me? We'll not have money. What do we do with that money? Sports will come to play. I mean, there's no government ever that have called the team together and say $100,000. But you saw it happen. It happened with the girls. It happened with the Tigers. If the Tigers had won, they would have gotten $100,000. If the Chan Eagles had gone, maybe they would have gotten $50,000. So you not be six small children. But that kind of money would be there. Before, it wouldn't be there. So that's the way it is. But all these things, I'm sounding like an isolation, somebody like a fool right now. But these are possibilities.